friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the Club Couture for March from Choc Couture. So I have a new kit that is an arched frame and it's layered. You'll see those layers in a little bit. And I have it in a couple different sizes. This is the medium size, I believe. So here I want to have a textured background. So I have some Plaster of Paris and I have 4 different colors in Fusion Mineral Paint. You can use whatever paints you want. I have Raw Silk, Cashmere, Algonquin, and Casement. This is definitely a layered look. I'm playing with this back and forth, and I don't want a ton of texture because my Silkscreen has to lay on top of that and I don't want it to bleed through. And you'll see me putting the frame on just to make sure I am covering, like going wide enough out, but I'm not building up too much that my frame wouldn't sit on nicely. So now I am adding a little bit more white, and you're going to see me going, that is Casement actually, and you're going to see me go back in with some Algonquin and Cashmere as well. I am using a little raw silk every now and then, but it is mainly Casement and Cashmere that you will see me using, and then a little Algonquin to darken it up. Using a palette knife or my squeegee from Choc Couture helps move this around. So apparently I didn't record the waxing. I waxed my entire surface with Behr clear wax. Any clear wax will do. This stops the transfer from stretching when pulling it up, as well as make sure that the transfer doesn't pull any paint up. I then went over it with Behr's dark antiquing wax, and then I wiped it back. Now you see me mixing up Choc Couture paste in black and bark. I just want kind of an espresso color, a little bit darker than an espresso color. So I've mixed that up. I am now fuzzing my Silkscreen and lining it up. I'm going to bring my frame in to make sure I have it placed where I want it. And then place it down quite well. I'm also now going to tape off any of the spots that I don't want the transfer to come through, like any of those extra designs around the edges. You can use a washi tape for this, or any light tack tape. You just want to be careful that it doesn't wreck your transfer. This tape I used is from Choc Couture. So once everything is, your Silkscreen has no air bubbles in it, you can go ahead and chalk and reveal for this cute bunny. Guys, how cute is he? I have so many ideas for him, but just such little time. This transfer is only available in the month of March, and the link will be in the description if you want to join. You have to join for 3 months, and then after that you can cancel or you can continue. Okay, so that is what the frame is going to look like, and we are going to work on it next. So I have painted both of these frames with Algonquin for the outer frame and Cashmere for the inner frame, and now I'm just lightly sanding those edges. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had an idea in my head, so you will see this play out as we go. So once it is sealed, I'm now taking Cashmere and some Casement and Algonquin, and I am going to use my palette knife to move, like to just randomly place on the inner frame. I want it to kind of have that chippy layered look. Not really chippied. I kind of want it to look like an old plaster frame. So using your palette knife really helps to layer up those colors and achieve that look. So there'll be a lot of back and forthing. Now I am using Algonquin. And this just kind of makes it look like layers of plaster are like revealed over time. So chippy painted plaster, I guess. Just trying to dry that a little bit and get it so we can start adding more on. So now you can see I've brought my brush in. I just wanted to tone it down a little bit. And that was Cashmere. And now I'm going to dry that paint again so that we can continue to add a few more layers after I give it a little bit of sanding to reveal some of that texture underneath. I always like to bring my frame in and lay it over top so I can kind of see how it's looking with the print underneath. So you've seen me use the clear wax and then the brown wax. Using the clear wax first helps you to be able to control your dark wax a little bit better. And then this is Pentart's wax paste, and this is the gold, and I've just hit the inner rim of it and the edge. Kind of wanted it to look like it was worn off. And now I am going over the outer frame with some dark wax, and I'm doing the whole edge, like the whole inside and the outside of that. And now I'm going to glue this together with any kind of wood. So now I have it glued together and I've got it clamped, and I'm just wiping some extra glue that seeped out away. This Tight Bond Quick and Thick does dry clear, but I always like to wipe excess away. So we will let that dry fully. So I've just added a little extra dark antiquing wax. Sometimes if you let it dry and set it aside and then come back and add more, it will deepen for you. Once I am done, I'm just going to wipe it back with a shop towel, and then we are going to get ready to glue this frame together. So I'm still using Tight Bond Quick and Thick. I'm putting a generous amount on there, lining it up. You're going to see me clamping and rubbing my fingers along the edge to make sure that it is even all the way around. And don't worry about those edges yet. All right, so it's all dry, and I have sanded the edges lightly and painted them in Algonquin. I am now using some black antiquing wax to give it a little bit more definition in corners and on the edges, going even in under that frame, and it's helping give a shadow and make the frame pop a little bit more. So I'll go back and forth with that and the Behr Dark antiquing wax, and using both of those to achieve the look that I want. And don't forget about the edges. Those are important as well. So now I have the Pentart Gold Metallic Wax again, and I'm just using my finger and applying it hit or miss around the edges. This is a solvent-based wax, so if you want to wear gloves, that's probably a good idea, and it's a little stinky. You can use a different gold wax if you want as well. So I'm just placing that to get the desired look that I want. And then you can see the easel back sitting there. I am going to apply some dark wax to that and then wipe it back. I'm going to make sure I do that to all the pieces, and we'll let that dry. So I wanted to keep this part slowed down for you while I'm assembling the back of this frame with the easel. So you want to make sure you don't have a lot of paint on those little pieces that go inside. If you do have too much paint on them, you will just have to wax some back. But you can see how I'm putting it together, and then find the middle of the board and make sure the bottom of this easel is lined up to the bottom. If your pieces going into those slots are a little loose, you can add some wood glue, but they typically fit quite tight. So then I'm using a good wood glue. This is Titebond Quick and Thick, and I am going to put a generous amount on the back, line it back up to where it was, and let it dry. So make sure that it is lined up nicely at the bottom. So it's all dry, and as you can see, it stands up wonderfully. Isn't he sweet? Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to leave any comments or if you have any questions below, and I will get back to you. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye.